Tonight on Dateline Abuja, we're looking at Nigerians living with disabilities as the federal government joins the rest of the world to promote the dignity, rights, and well-being of persons with disabilities, hosting a week of activities to mark the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. The theme for 2025 is Fostering Disability-Inclusive Societies for Advancing Social Progress. And my guest tonight is Nigeria's first female deaf lawyer. This is Dateline Abuja. Hello and welcome to Dateline Abuja. I'm Kayla Magwa. We begin with Nigeria's presidency. A new defense minister has been sworn in. The president received letters of credence from 17 ambassadors, while his own list of 68 ambassadors is being described as a potpourri of the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's time for our Abuja Wrap.
The federal government has approved the disbursement of $200 million to support HIV, tuberculosis, and malaria programs in Nigeria. The wife of the president, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, disclosed this at an event to commemorate the 2025 World AIDS Day held at the State House, Abuja, where she also rallied the nation against HIV/AIDS, warning that donor dependency and persistent stigma threaten hard-won gains towards an HIV-free Nigeria by 2030.
As global funding patterns shift, we must ensure sustainability to prevent disruption of critical services. The federal government, as you have heard, has proactively approved the disbursement of $200 million to support HIV, tuberculosis, and malaria program. Furthermore, I'm also told that NACA has initiated engagements with state governments to ensure long-term ownership, continuity of the national response.
The Minister of Defense, Mr. Mohammed Badaru, has resigned his appointment with immediate effect. In a letter dated December 1 sent to President Bola Tinubu, Abubakar said he was quitting on health grounds. President Tinubu has accepted the resignation and thanked Abubakar for his service to the nation. His resignation comes amid President Tinubu's declaration of a national security emergency, with plans to elaborate on its scope in due course. President Bola Tinubu has sworn in former Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, as the Minister of Defense in a major push to restructure Nigeria's security setup. The short ceremony took place at the President's office in the Presidential Villa. Speaking afterwards, he told State House correspondents that his immediate priority is to ensure that defense takes its rightful place fully in the country, assuring Nigerians that they will see results very soon.
My immediate priority is to make sure that defense takes its place fully in the country. The synergy between the armed forces, and other security agencies, and all Nigerians being carried along, as we have always said, that security is everybody's responsibility. It is that synergy that we need to build on and work on it, and that's what we're going to. And I can assure you, within the shortest possible time, Nigerians will see results.
President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed his administration's determination to tackle insecurity in the country as he vows to transform what he calls unstable zones into hubs of economic activities. The president stated this when he launched the 2026 Armed Forces Remembrance Day appeal emblem at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. He also reassures of his commitment to the welfare of both serving and retired personnel as well as their families.
As a grateful nation, we must honor the fallen, support the wounded, and create and care for all who answer the call to serve. As President and Commander-in-Chief, I remain committed to equipping and motivating our military. Security is a central pillar of the Renew Hope agenda.
President Bola Tinubu has demanded greater efficiency in strategies and results in the ongoing fight against insecurity in some parts of Nigeria. The president made the demand when he met with heads of intelligence agencies and service chiefs at the State House. The National Economic Council has approved the sum of 100 billion naira, subject to a final ratification by President Bola Tinubu, for the rehabilitation of training institutions for police and other security agencies in the country. This followed recommendations from the ad hoc committee earlier constituted to assess the state of training institutions for police and security agencies nationwide. At its meeting held virtually and chaired by Vice President Kashim Shettima, NEC also approved the sum of 2.6 billion naira for consultancy services for the projects.
Our work today is a demonstration that governance is meaningful only when it improves the lives of the people. Our task is not to admire problems, but to solve them. It is not to explain challenges, but to overcome them. And it is not to hope for progress, but to engineer it with the tools available to us.
The federal government is seeking a fairer share of the aviation markets in the African continent, targeting countries like South Africa, Ethiopia, and Kenya. Speaking at the maiden International Air Show in Abuja, the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development notes that the federal government is making deliberate investments in the sector and building collaborations to enable the Nigerian aviation sector globally competitive. The International Air Show comes on the heels of the 100th anniversary of aviation in Nigeria.
We are doing more than 150 frequencies. 150 frequencies to Nigeria by international airlines, not local airlines. International airlines per month to this country. Frequencies. So it is important that we transform Nigeria into Africa's #1 hub. So we have to claim our rightful place in Africa in aviation.
Welcome back. The Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, and Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, are lending their voices to the advocacy for equal rights for people living with disabilities, as Nigeria joins the rest of the world to mark the International Disability Day. While the Deputy Speaker to function in Abuja decries the low-impact level of the law prohibiting violence and discrimination against people with disabilities, the First Lady, who was represented by the wife of the Plateau State Governor, emphasizes the need to empower people living with disabilities. World Disability Day is marked on December the 3rd every year to raise awareness about the challenges faced by people with disabilities and promote disability rights and inclusion. Please watch this. Persons with disabilities arrived early at the banquet hall of the Plateau State Government House in Jos, some in wheelchairs, others guided by walking aids or relatives, as they gathered to mark the 2025 World Disability Day in Plateau State. The wife of the state governor is representing Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, as she launches the Renewed Hope Economic Empowerment Program, an initiative to promote disability inclusion.
Aligns with the Renewed Hope agenda of His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which seeks to promote inclusive growth and shared prosperity by ensuring that no Nigerian is left behind, especially those whose needs are often overlooked. It is worth noting that over the past 2 years, the Renewed Hope initiative has supported over 100,000 women, petty traders, and small business owners, including persons with disabilities, with direct financial grants to grow their businesses.
The Renewed Hope Economic Empowerment Program provides business recapitalization grants to 250 people with disabilities in each state, with another 50 million per state for implementation.
All these business grants that started 2 years ago, as Commission, we are following it up. And truly, it is helping our people. There are some of our people that we can boldly say that they have established what we call livelihood. Yes. When we talk of livelihood, we are talking of you establishing a business that can take care of you, can take care of your family, can pay the school fees of your children, and few relations around you, they will be benefiting from you. So you were not far wrong when you say very soon, many people will be coming to us, persons with disabilities, so that we'll be the ones to be giving them.
Ma, we thank you for your timeless efforts in ensuring that the benefits of this initiative reach those who need it most. Your leadership is instrumental in driving positive change in our state. And I must boldly say, we have never had it this good. Thank you so much, Ma, for all you're doing for us on the plateau. To our dear beneficiaries, this grant is not just a gift, but an investment in your future. It is an opportunity to pursue your dreams, to start a business or a skill acquisition that will ensure your livelihood. I encourage you to make good use of this grant, to be bold and to strive for excellence. Your success is our success. Okay. Your Excellency.
In a related development, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, along with members of the diplomatic community, attended a similar function to mark the day in Abuja.
International Day of Persons with Disabilities.
Emphasis on the event is on the need to promote equal rights for people with disabilities, especially in the workplace.
This year's theme, Fostering Disability Inclusive Societies for Advancing Social Progress, is a call to action to create a society built on disability equity. Disability equity benefits everyone. It unlocks economic growth and reduces poverty. Promoting disability inclusion builds more cohesive and resilient communities. Australia's International Disability Equity and Rights Strategy reaffirms our commitment to disability equity and rights all over the world.
Nigeria's Discrimination Against Persons Living with Disabilities Act was signed into law in 2018. 7 years down the line, the Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives, is unhappy with the level of implementation and advocates for the need to scale up.
The enactment of the Discrimination Against Persons with Disability Prohibition Act in 2018 was a watershed moment for our nation. I say that because it signaled the end of exclusion and the beginning of a rights-based approach to disability in our great nation, Nigeria. We're gathered here today, 7 years after this act that we signed. Because the reality in our workplaces does not yet match the promise of our laws. 7 years after. And this is as a result of what we call post-legislative scrutiny. Granted that laws have been made, the measurable impact does not speak well to the purposive intention of the drafters of those laws. 7 years after. The 10th House of Representatives views the economic exclusion of persons with disability and the DWD not just as a human rights violation, but as economic sabotage. But like I said, I started by going to see their creativity, their acts, their impact before walking into the room. So I speak from the point of conviction. We cannot realistically aim to grow Nigeria's GDP, build a resilient economy, while systematically locking out millions of capable, of driven, of valuable citizens from the workplace.
The Nigeria Disability Law prohibits discrimination against people with disabilities and imposes sanctions, including fines and prison sentences on those who contravene it. The law also stipulates a 5-year transitional period for modifying public buildings, structures, and automobiles to make them accessible and usable for people with disabilities. To help us understand navigating life in Nigeria while living with a disability is my guest tonight, who happens to be Nigeria's first deaf female lawyer. She's also the executive director of the Voice of Disability Initiative, Barrister Catherine Ede. Catherine, Chike, and Alex, thank you very much for being with us on Dateline Abuja.
Thank you.
Let me start with Catherine. First female lawyer in Nigeria. How was that experience going through school as a person who can't hear and then becoming the very first female deaf lawyer in Nigeria?
I would say it is challenging, but fulfilling. Why? Challenging because law, the context is deep, very, very difficult, and for a deaf to cope. Most of our lectures, we do it what we don't, lecturers don't write on the chalkboard. They just read out. Everybody will be taking notes. And at the end of class, they have what they call impromptu assessments test, which we add to our grade that decide what GP will make. And me being deaf, I cannot flow. I will manage interpreter. And the qualification of interpreters matters a lot. Most of them don't have experience in law. So I just try to make do with the basics. At the end of class, I borrow notebook from classmates, go back home, copy and read. But when it comes to that impromptu assessment at the end of lecture, that is a very, very big challenge. But I kept pushing, and today I'm a lawyer.
What's it like being a lawyer who has a hearing impairment? Like, how are you coping in court?
You know that practicing law is not only about going to court. I ventured into law because of the human rights aspect of it. And I know that this will link me to this advocacy that I'm making now. It is also another aspect of practicing law. We're advocating for human rights. Disability rights is embedded in human rights. So that was the main reason I studied law. Immediately I was called to bar in 2015, 2016. This around the same period is when VDI kick-started, because I have it all planned out.
Let's talk about the Voice of Disability Initiative, which is what you head. What's the response like? What kind of work have you been doing?
We are advocating for disability inclusion, fighting stigma and discrimination. Because me as a person, I know what I passed through. I became deaf at the age of 9, just a kid. I didn't know right from wrong. I was in primary school. And with that new status came stigma and discrimination. A lot. It would have run me for life. Every time I try not to think of the past too much because it can still be depressing up to today. When I look back and all this thing, as I was growing, I told myself, at first, I was just tolerating all this thing, but I told myself, how long will I tolerate it? We need voice, and thankfully, I have learned how to talk before I became deaf. What about all that deaf who cannot talk for themselves? In Lords, I channel their direction every day. and they cannot even defend themselves. I told myself, since I can talk, at least let me look for a position that I will be in so that I will voice for them. And this was what pushed me to study law. And since I started VDR, what I've been doing is prioritizing persons with disability and our rights. In fact, everything, our vision, everything is on disability inclusion, disability rights enforcement. Most of them, when they have issue, they run to us. They need their rights to be safeguarded. They run to us, and we take it up. Apart from taking it up, we advocate, we connect them between governments. Community need to be closer to government. But most time, government feel, these people are troublesome. These people are this and that. We have in our board of trustees highly respected individuals who also share the same vision and passion with me. So they also help to bridge the gap between us and government. Any project we carry to any state, we use that project to try to connect with the ruling government. We cannot just implement projects. Our project mostly on sexual and reproductive health and rights. But we cannot implement it project and then we leave. What about sustainability? What are the structures on ground that will ensure sustainability?
What are some of the major cases that people with disabilities are presenting when they come to you as a lawyer to fight for their rights?
Some of them, especially because our main focus are women and girls with disability. Some of them brought cases of GBV. And
gender-based violence?
Gender-based violence. Most of this gender-based violence are from intimate partners, families, the husband or boyfriend, things like that. You will see a man, usually our own men with disability. A deaf girl will come and meet us with her own case, and when she narrates it, the whole thing revolves about boyfriend who is also deaf, using her who is deaf to beg around and prostitute. They sleep around in the morning, they will go out. At night, they will come back to the brothel. And the same deaf man who is using her, we still sleep with her. And in some cases, they have up to 5 or even 10 deaf ladies under them. They sleep with all of them, secreting infection.
So it's a very serious crime. It's trafficking.
Very serious.
Sex slaves.
Very, very. Very, very. Since we have been pushing NAPTIP, because we see that a lot of things, NAPTIP is working very hard, but not as inclusive as we want it. Like rehabilitation, how inclusive. If we carry a case and they want to rehabilitate the victim, how we possible when the person is all alone, a deaf, cannot communicate with others who are being rehabilitated in their shelter? Even the sexual assault referral center, how inclusive? How do they understand those deaf people? And because of this, a lot of them are out there in the society, in the streets, circulating infections.
When it comes to legislation over the years, it does feel like some things have become a little better. I don't know if you noticed when you came to Channels TV here, we have a section for walking and then we have for wheelchairs.
Yes, we saw it.
You know, a few of us know how to sign a little bit.
We are doing good. We are doing well.
But not very well, just a little. And then there's also the fact that now when you're watching anyone on TV, there has to be someone signing right next, you know, so that you're not excluded from news and from programming. A lot of things have changed, but what are some of the things in your view, as someone who's on the board of Voice of Disability, what are some things that can be done?
The problem we have is the issue of discrimination generally against persons with disability. You see that we have, for instance, you just mentioned we have a ramp here. It's all right. is in the Act. They are provided since 2019. That was when that Act was signed into law. And a 5-year period was given for public buildings to be able to
to adapt.
But you still go around. Nobody takes those things to heart.
And then in government as well, you have people in government right now who are living with disability. The Minister of State for Humanitarian Affairs is a person living with disability. The chairman of the APC is a person living with disability. So we have quite a number of people who are living with disability in governance. What would you like to have them do for people who are living with disability? What kind of advocacy do you want to hear from them?
For inclusion?
Yes.
Well, 5% is even there already. It's the inclusive at least 5% when you are employing should be for persons with disability. 5%? That's right. But the problem is that, like yesterday when we were in the panel, the problem is that nobody even takes that to heart. They don't even adhere to that. We don't walk the talk.
So 5%?
Yes, 5%.
Let me come back to Catherine. 5% of employments in all organizations, you want it to be people with disability?
Yes, that was what was provided by their act. 5%, but compliance is very, very poor in Nigeria. From accessibility that was conducted, I'm not sure we are up to 1% now. We have not even complied at all. I think last time I heard that we are at 0.3 or something like that, not even up to 1%. We need our women to also be considered. There should be clear respect for men and for women. Even if it is 3 against 2, it is better than nothing, and all our men are just taking everything.
Well, I want to thank you very much for being with us here on Dateline Abuja. Thank you for all the work that you do, Mr. Chike. Thank you as well. And Catherine, thank you as well. And Alex, thank you for the work that you do. And I hope to see you all again soon. And happy World People with Disability Day.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks to my guest and to everyone who spoke to us today on the program. Someone once said empathy is the highest form of intelligence, and how we treat those least fortunate in our society shows the true picture of our society. So let's remember those living with disabilities and help in any way we can to make their lives easier. Please remember to let us know the happenings in your neighborhood using the social media handles showing right now on your screens. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kayla Magwa. See you next time.